So the counter notification has been sent. It's probably going to take a few days, maybe 10 to 14 business days until I'm able to post again on the fighting business. So for you guys that are looking for updates, I wanted to let you guys know that it's in process. It should be fast. And I'm working towards a little bit more of a detailed video on what exactly happened and stuff like that. So after the strikes are removed from the fighting business, I'll post a more detailed video on what happened, what I plan on doing, and nothing major is gonna change. But I just want to let everybody know, like on the main channel, what's been going on and why the videos are gone and stuff like that. So that's what I'm working on for now. And also for you guys that have been asking for certain videos, I was able to download before I deleted everything. I was able to download 17 videos, some of the most popular ones, some of the most liked videos. So a few before and afters, Charles Oliveira's, a few deeper dives. I was able to download a few key videos that marked the channel. And so these ones, I will re-upload them on the Patreon. So if you want to have access to over 17 videos from the fighting business that will no longer be on the channel anymore, you can have access to all of them on the Patreon. And so with that being said, let's get back to some more positive stuff, the UFC stuff. There's a big pay-per-view coming up this weekend, and even though the deeper dive is no longer on the channel, I still want to do my best to cover it, and this is my part into doing that because I can't post obviously on the main channel for now. And so we'll do a prediction video. I'll give my thoughts on the main card of the UFC 313 pay-per-view. It's a very great card. I mean, some very interesting sleeper fights. Bobby Green versus Ruffy. Lemos, Lucindo. I don't know much about Lucindo, to be fair, but Jalen Turner and Bahamondes, that's a great fight. Gaethje and Fiziev, even though Hooker's out, Fiziev is just as much of a banger, and the UFC were able to keep that aura of the Gaethje Hooker fight going with Fiziev. So I'm glad they chose him. And then obviously the main event, Pereira versus Magomed Ankalaev, is a very interesting fight. So I'll start with the first fight of the main card, which is Bobby Green, or King Green, whatever you want to call him, versus Mauricio Ruffy. I watched his last fight, Mauricio Ruffy. It was against the Hispanic guy that missed weight. I think he missed weight by a few, so it was a catch weight, and he had some very great moments. I think the matchmakers know what they're doing with this card. They're putting up fighters that are similar. They're putting up striking battles, which is very interesting, and I'm glad to see that because those are two guys that have very similar style, similar height, similar reach. I mean, both 5'10", 75, 71 reach, both great strikers, both good movement, both pretty fast. I feel like, obviously, I think you guys know where I'm coming from here, but the difference is Bobby Green is 38 years old. He's coming off like he's maybe 1-3 in his last 4 fights. If I'm gonna just look at his shirt dog real quick, just make sure, because I think he lost Patty. He lost to Patty. He lost to Turner recently. I think Islam was also. Oh no, Islam was okay. Islam was way down. Damn, this guy fights, bro. Insane. Holy shit. Islam was 2022. He has like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fights since then. Holy shit, Bobby Green be fighting. Insane. So he's okay. Yeah, he's 1-2 in his last 3. Had a decent streak when he fought Ferguson and then Dawson, but you can just tell, since Green's been there, he's kind of like a win one, lose one type of fighter, and Mauricio Ruffy is like he's like on the come up. You know what I mean? He's a 28-year-old from the Fight Nerd gym, so he's a very tough guy, and I think he's going to be coming in much more hungry and prepared for this fight. So if I were to lean here, I'd probably go Mauricio Ruffy. I'm going to go by TKO maybe in the 2nd or 3rd round. I would go decision, but just based off of the last few performances of Bobby Green, the late stoppage against Jalen Turner, that just is not good. And for a 38-year-old guy, prime for prime, I probably would have picked Bobby Green, one of my favorite fighter in the UFC, Bobby Green. I like him. I like him so much. I like his style. I like his energy. I like the way he just comes forward. His style is so interesting and entertaining. Every one of his fights are always fun to watch. But at 38 years old, it's just hard to pick for him against another like powerful striker like this. I feel like Bobby Green at this stage, he can only win the fights against the strikers that are less powerful. You know what I mean? Like the Jim Millers or Grant Dawsons of the world, like guys that don't have that level of power to threaten and that he can just picks apart, you know, from the outside. Like a guy like Drew Dober is a nightmare for King Green because even though he can pick him apart for 2.5 rounds or whatever it was, maybe 1.5 round, whatever, he can just get knocked out at any point. You know what I mean? So I think Mauricio Rufy is one of those guys that has the power to get the respect from Bobby Green, and so he won't be able to implement that same game plan that he does with any other of his opponents. So yeah, prime for prime, like I said, I probably pick Bobby Green, but right now I'm gonna go with Mauricio Rufy by second round TKO probably. Hopefully they're not late on the stoppage because that wouldn't be good for Bobby Green's brain, man. Already one too many late stoppages. Anyways, moving on. What's next? Nope, that's not the one. Amanda Lemos. I don't know too much about that one, to be honest. I've watched a few of Amanda Lemos fight. I don't know too much about Lucindo. I know they're putting this fight up so that there's some hype for the strawweight division because there's literally no other contender for Weili Zhang. So they have to, you know, make fights interesting. So I don't know too much about Lucindo. I'm just gonna pull up her shirt off. She's 23 years of age. Bro, she's younger than me, bro. I'm an old head, bro. Holy shit. All right, she's 17. And let me just put this up so you guys can see. She's 17-5 on a decent streak. She has what? She has 5 fights in the UFC now. She's 4-1, and she's on a 4-fight win streak in the UFC. So she's definitely on a tear. Amanda Lemos fought for the title, I think, against Weili Zhang. Was that her last fight or she fought since then? Let me look that up real quick. Thank you, Wi-Fi. All right, there you go. Oh, she fought against Verna Jindiroba. I didn't know that. Because I know she fought for the title, but then she fought again against Mackenzie Dern. Damn, she's being pretty active in 2024, right? At least for women's MMA. That's pretty active since, you know, fighting for the title. So, okay, fair enough. Yeah, damn, she's 37 too. Yeah, I guess just for that, I'm gonna go Yasmin Lucindo. I don't know too much about their style, but just based off of their age, based off their last performances, Yasmin's on a tear, 4-fight win streak, whereas, you know, Amanda Lemos, 37 years old, she's lost a few of her last fights. So I'm gonna go Yasmin Lucindo, probably by decision. That's usually how it goes, and I think Lemos is she's pretty durable as well. So yeah, I'm going to go with the prospect, and I'm going to go by decision. All right, don't flame me. I don't know much about these fighters, to be fair. Let's move up. Fighters that I know, fighters that that I've been watching, and another one of my favorite fighter of all time, Jalen Turner. I love this guy a lot, and, you know, maybe some of his last performances lost a bit of his aura, but I remember when he was on the come-up, when he fought Brad Riddell. I remember he fought Brad Riddell, had a nice guillotine choke, or I think he had another fight after that. Yeah, Brad Riddell was the peak when he fought, when he got that submission choke, and then he lost a split decision to Mateus Gamrot. But even that fight against Mateus Gamrot, I remember being like, this dude is dangerous, because Gamrot was a tough grappler who spent the entire fight trying to grapple with Jalen Turner, and Jalen just was able to stuff takedowns, do some damage on the feet. And then as well, that Dan Hooker fight as well was super interesting. I feel like he had that in the bag. You know what I mean? He had that in the bag. He should have won that fight. And he just laid low. He became he got tired at the end of the third round. So yeah, it was a few like close fights, you know what I mean? 2 back-to-back split decisions. And then he had that vicious KO over Bobby Green. But then that last fight against Moicano was the one that like lost him so much aura. And like that's the part that like I think he has to rectify, but it's not something too difficult. But it might be a mental battle. Like, you know, if you're beating someone down badly and they're still there coming, you have to stay locked in. And I think that's the issue with Jalen Turner. That fight against Gamrot, that fight against Dan Hooker, that fight against Moicano, he had some great moments early in those fights, and every single time they kind of just found a way to get back. They just found a way to, you know, out hustle him. And Jalen Turner has to be mentally locked in even when these guys are staying in those fights. And if he's able to do that, he's a very, very dangerous guy at lightweight. Like, so powerful, so technical on the feet. His kicks are insane. I remember that kick against Dan Hooker. I don't know if you guys remember that sound, bro. That was insane. So Jalen Turner is one of my favorite. I love Turner a lot. And Bahamondes is also like, he's a prospect. He had a great win against Manuel Torres in his last fight. I think that was 306. That was the Sphere card. We know he's fast. He had like two very great counter against Torres. He kind of catched him with the same shot twice in that fight. But I don't know if Jalen Turner would get caught like that. I feel like technically he isn't the type of fighter to get catch, that way. And I feel like the only way to catch Jalen Turner is either you grapple him or he gets tired. On the feet, he's very, very difficult to beat. So Ignacio Bahamondes, I think, is going to come in, try to strike. And on the feet, Jalen Turner is a very, very dangerous dude. So I think I'm going to go Jalen Turner here. I think I'm going to go Jalen Turner by TKO. It's a very tough pick, to be fair, because he's a bit of an unpredictable guy, Jalen Turner, to be honest. So I know Ignacio Bahamondes, there's not much that we've seen from him, but just based off what I know and what we've seen recently, I guess not recently because Jalen Turner got beat up in his last fight. So it's not like recency bias thing, but it's just based off of what I know about these two fighters. I don't think Ignacio Bahamondes has enough to beat Jalen Turner on the feet, and that's what I think is going to come down to it. It's going to be a striking fight, and so that's why I think this card is going to be amazing. But in the end, I'm going with Jalen Turner, and I'm going Jalen Turner by TKO in the second round as well. I think that's what I'm going to go with. Yeah, it has to be early. TKO first or second round. That's what I'm going to go with. Let's move up. Justin Gaethje versus Ruffy Fiziev. I explained this in the deeper dive. If you guys had time to watch the deeper dive before it got taken down, so sad. Unfortunately, yeah. I talked about it and I said those two guys kind of are coming off of weird and bad circumstances. Justin Gaethje obviously is coming off one of the worst KO imaginable. A 5-round beatdown and then a last-second KO is just really bad mentally and also physically, right? It's very, very difficult to come back from that at like 35 years old, 35 years of age, 36 years of age, whatever he is. So coming from that, just off of that is really bad. But then Ruffy Fiziev, on the other hand, is also not in the best circumstances, right? So not only is he on a 2-fight skid, right? Lost to Gaethje, lost to Gamrot, and that Gamrot fight, he injured his knee, so he's coming off of a surgery, torn ACL, a year and a half, 2-year layoff, and then he's coming into this fight on 10 days notice, cutting all this weight to fight Gaethje, who's prepared and who took time after that KO to get back mentally prepared. So just off of these circumstances, I'm gonna have trouble. I just have trouble seeing Fiziev get that W, right? I mean, he lost that first fight under much better circumstances. He had time to get prepared, and now he's coming in on 10 days notice, not the right circumstances, coming off a surgery on 10 days notice. It's just going to be hard for me to look at Fiziev based on circumstances and what happened before and be like, I'm confident picking him. So I think I'm going to go Gaethje. Here. I'm going to go Gaethje here. Oh, do I see him TKOing him? That's really hard. I might see him like late second round TKO or third round TKO, something like that. I think this is a 3-round fight, so I think he might be able to get him out of here in the third round. It's going to be difficult because I know Fiziev is super tough, but just off of just the sheer circumstances, him coming back on 10 days notice, I don't think, this is hard. This is really hard because I also do see the point of view where it's like Fiziev is much more hungry. You know what I mean? He wants it more. Like he wants to get that back. But like I said, I think Gaethje's too experienced. He's going to be able to get back and, against these style of fighters as well. Like Gaethje's really good against a Poirier, against a Eddie Alvarez, against a Fiziev, against these like short, stocky, powerful Michael Chandler, brawler. Those are the type of fighters that I feel Gaethje is pretty good at it because he, I don't know. He's able to stay calm and composed in there and he doesn't get overwhelmed by the power and the chaos of the fight. Whereas a Max Holloway who throws incredible volume, that's different. That's a different type of style to deal with. And I think, a Rafael Fiziev for Gaethje is someone he's known. It's a style that he's beaten before, and I think he's going to be able to do it again. So yeah, I'm going to go TKO in the third round, even though this is really tough. I mean, each prediction of each pay-per-view is always hard. There's no easy one. Look, I'm coming at this one, and I don't even know what I'm going to say. I really don't know what I'm going to say. If you've watched DFB stocks for a while, like, I've had like issues picking Alex Pereira fights since the beginning. I think I put my hands up, and I'll say this. I think I've never picked Alex Pereira in a fight. That only time I picked Pereira, the only time I picked Pereira to win a fight was UFC 287, the rematch against Adesanya. That was the only time I picked for him. I swear to God. Since that time, I picked Jan, I picked Yuri, I picked Jamal, I picked Yuri again. Did I pick Khalil? Did I pick Khalil? No way I picked Khalil. No way I picked Khalil. Let me just look this up real quick. I have to look up, because I think I did a prediction for UFC 307. I stopped making videos for a little while. Okay, no, I didn't make a prediction for 307. All right, I'm safe. I'm safe. Okay, because I was like, bro, if I picked Khalil over Pereira, I would have been like, bro, you're being a hater at this point. Even though I trusted Khalil, and I know Khalil is a fucking tough guy. It's like, just based on circumstances, that would have been a dumb, retarded pick. But the last time I made a prediction video was UFC 304. So it has been a while, man. It's been almost 10 pay-per-views that I haven't made a prediction video. So Alex Pereira has been a nightmare to predict for me. And this is the most nightmare matchup of all time. Like, what the... Oh my God, this is really hard because I see both point of view. Again, I see both perspective on this. You tell me Magomed Ankalaev, in the deeper dive, I talked about this. He's not much of a submission threat. He doesn't grapple as much as people claim he does. He doesn't take people down unless he's hurt. That's what happened in the Jan Blachowicz fight. He got hurt to the leg, and then he started grappling. That's not his initial game plan. You know what I mean? His initial game plan is always strike first, right? So he's not a Khabib Nurmagomedov. He's not an Islam Makhachev. He's not, he's not even like a Moicano who like has the game plan of looking for takedowns. He's a strike first guy, has no submissions on his resume, mostly TKOs. And what happens is you have a guy who has mostly TKOs on his resume, right? What happens is they get confident. They get confident on their feet. They want to strike. And we've said it before, and I'll say it again, but everybody that fight Alex Pereira wants to prove that they can handle him on the feet. They always want to do it. It feels like it's a pride thing. Now, Magomed Ankalaev, I saw him tweet a few things where he talked about wanting to grapple with Pereira for 5 rounds. I think there was a video of Pereira and Glover Teixeira grappling in the snow. And Magomed replied with like, be ready to do this for 5 rounds, right? So, I saw a few interviews even before the fight was announced where he was saying, I won't even grapple. I won't even take you down, stuff like that, right? So it's like, we don't know what perspective and narrative that he has in his head, Magomed Ankalaev. We don't know at all. Is he going to try to shoot the takedowns? And I'm like, I hope he does. I do not want to see another guy, another dumbass light heavyweight go into this fight and not try to shoot takedowns against a fucking double glory kickboxing champion. Like, what are we doing here? Magomed Ankalaev has that skill in his arsenal. He has that skill in his weaponry. Please do not wait until you're wobbled or your feet are fucking crippled until you start shooting a takedown. That's my, regardless of the outcome of the fight, I just want to see Pereira tested. I do want to see Pereira tested on the ground because he hasn't been tested by nobody, literally nobody. Yuri's the only one that tried a few times, but even then, Yuri's not a grappler. He doesn't commit to takedowns the same way Ankalaev will. He doesn't want to stay on top of you. So nobody has really tested Pereira's grappling, and I hope Ankalaev does. I hope he does, because even if he wants to strike, he's going to have a better chance of doing so if he mixes it up, if he gives Pereira different looks. So I'm just hoping here. I guess this is a prayer because I don't really have a guy that I want to see win more than another. I'm just a fan of the UFC here. I want to see a good fight. And I want to see Pereira tested because that's one narrative that people can always claim now, still with Pereira's career and his resume. Like, he didn't get tested on the ground. So I hope Ankalaev does. If he's not retarded, I hope he does. And you're going to hate me. You are going to hate me. You're going to hate me. You're so going to hate me. But I am going to pick Magomed Ankalaev if he does so. If he mixes it up with the takedown, I think Ankalaev got him. I think his defensive striking is immaculate. I think he's really good on the feet. I think obviously leg kick can be very much of an issue. Very much of an issue. But I think he's coming in knowing, he has to know, right? He has to know that it's probably Alex Pereira's biggest weapon. That his calf kick and the left hook. Right? That's the number one thing that you have to be prepared for. And even though most guys, even though they know they can't prepare for it, they can't defend well, I think Magomed Ankalaev has been like looking to get that shot for so long. And he's coming in, I think he should be coming in with a very simple game plan. You know what I mean? Check leg kicks, keep your right hand to your face, and when you have the opportunity, stick him up against the fence and take him down, right? And if you have that opportunity, you gas him out, you tire him out, and you decide to strike later on, you can do that. And I think Magomed Ankalaev should be coming in, especially now it's Ramadan. You don't want to take that risk. You do not want to take that risk. I don't know if he's actually fasting during that fucking week. That would be absolutely insane to win the title while you're fasting. That is insane. But yeah, I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, that trust Magomed Ankalaev to shoot takedowns and to mix it up. And if he doesn't, I think Pereira wins. I think definitely Pereira on the feet. He's gonna cripple his legs. He's gonna be very, very dangerous, obviously, with his left hook. And in a kickboxing fight, Pereira wins any day of the week. But I'm praying and hoping that Ankalaev mixes it up. And if he does, I think Ankalaev wins. I think Ankalaev gets this W. We've seen Pereira as well. This is another factor, but we've seen Pereira being all over the world since, you know, he's won the belts, like not training as much, doing videos with girls left and right. There's a few curses on his head right now as well. The Drake curse, I think, the betting curse, I think. There was a Izzy curse at some point, EA cover curse. There's a few curses on Pereira's head. But the main thing is he just hasn't been training as much. Ankalaev has been locked in, and he knows because, you know, since his fight against, what's his last fight against? What's his name? You know who I'm looking for. I'm gonna get it. The guy that Yuri just beat up before getting that rematch. It was, damn, my memory, man. I have Alzheimer, bro. I have Alzheimer. I swear to God, I know my MMA. What's his name? You guys are screaming it to your screen right now. You're like, Milan, obviously it's this guy. And I'm like, obviously I know. But I'm like, I have Alzheimer. Like, give me a second. The guy who's super buff, beef, Alexander Rakic. There you go. There's a lot of names, bro. There's a lot of names. And my head, all right? My head is turning, bro. You see what I'm fucking going through right now. So, like, give me a break. But, yeah. I feel like since that fight with Alexander Rakic, and even before, I mean, he should have gotten the title after the draw against Jan Blachowicz, because he arguably should have won that fight. I mean, I'm a pro Magomed Ankalaev fan. Maybe, actually, I'm not a fan, but, like, I can empathize. I can empathize with this guy, with the struggle that he's been going through. And, like, I'm sure in his mind, he's like, I have to get this W. Like, the UFC, the fans, everybody has been disrespecting him. Alex Pereira has been dismissing him. They gave Khalil Roundtree a shot over him when he was the clear number one contender on, like, an 11-fight unbeaten streak. Like, it's incredible, right? And so I think he's going to come in, not take no risk, shoot for takedown, mixes it up. And I'm going, once again, to pick against Alex Pereira. I made a video, I think, one of the last videos I made before I went on a hiatus for a few months, and I titled it, like, I still haven't learned my lesson with Alex Pereira. I think that was UFC 303, and I might just have to make a part 2 of this video if he gets that W, because if he beats Magomed Ankalaev, I mean, he's a GOAT. He's one of the GOAT.